What's going on, guys? This is Jake here. Been wanting to make this video for a very long time. Today I wanted to talk about the 5 biggest mistakes I made with my first video game. So let's get to it. So about 2 months ago I released my first video game, Squares, on the Android or Google Play Store, iOS App Store, and I also released it on a website as a web game. I'm very proud of myself for releasing this game. It was a big goal of mine to develop and publish a game myself, which I'm glad I did. I learned a lot, and as you can tell, I've made a couple mistakes. Probably more than a couple, but I'll talk about 5 today. So the first biggest mistake I made with making my first video game was not having a lot of replayability. When someone plays a game, generally there's something that entices them to, play that game on the first place, but then maybe the next day or a week after, they'll want to play it again. Whether it's some type of competition with a leaderboard, or cool items they want to unlock, or they want to level up, or there's some type of, some materialistic thing they want to get through that game. Now, with my first game, Squares, I did have a leaderboard functionality, so people could kind of compete, showing off their wins and losses against the world, anyone who's playing. But other than that, there was not much content to actually bring the user back after they played it once. So most people would play it once, kind of, not really play it again, uninstall it. So although I did reach my goal of releasing a game, I think I could have added more replayability and maybe a leveling system or something that would bring the player back the next day or the next week. But there wasn't much replayability other than the leaderboard functionality. My second biggest mistake was not releasing all platforms at the same time. So Squares is a multiplayer puzzle game, and thus requires other people to find a match. You would click join game, it would search for a match. If it couldn't find one, it would create one and wait for someone else to join. Now the issue was I applied to the Google Play Store first. I think it was on a Monday, and I think I got accepted the next day or 2 days later. However, I didn't apply to put it on the Apple App Store till Wednesday, I want to say, and Apple's much more strict with their apps and games, and they have a lot more requirements and kind of things you have to pass in order to get on the App Store, and it took a lot longer. So, Squares was on the Google Play Store for about a whole week before the Apple Play Store, and that meant a lot less people were playing, and it was much harder to find a match. So I don't know if this was true, I'm sure it happened, but a lot of people maybe looked for a match and couldn't find one because there wasn't enough people, playing the game. So it would just kind of, loop and looking for a match, and people would just give up and probably uninstall it. So I think going forward for my next game, which I am working on, I'm going to make sure I release it on the same day and making sure it's all timed correctly with my social media posts and stuff like that. So players will have, it'll be available on all devices on the same day. Number 3, the third mistake I made with making my first game was marketing and social media. And this is probably the biggest mistake. I think if you want to be somewhat successful in the video game industry, you need to have a social media presence. You need to have Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat even, at least, 2 or 3 of those to gather a following and a community, and I didn't do that well. All I had was a Facebook page, and I didn't even start posting social media posts maybe till the game was maybe like 2 months before it was ready, which, at least I started and got somewhere. However, I should have started from the beginning. I should have had consistent dev blogs, YouTube channel like I am starting right now, just consistently making social media posts, and I was not up to date with that. I was making posts maybe once a month. I really ramped up near the end of development, but I should have been, posting on social media, on Facebook, YouTube, consistently, even from the beginning. Like the second I had the idea, or the second I started working on the game, I should have been posting on social media. So I did run a Facebook ad as well. It was pretty successful, actually. It gained about, I think about 50 players, which, it's not too bad. But going forward with my next game, and I'm going to keep saying this because I want to make sure I learn from my mistakes and I can watch this video and making sure I fix those mistakes. Going forward, I need to consistently make social media posts, dev blogs, and just building a community. That way when you release, the day you release the game, you have a community and players, are already willing to play the game. and download it the day it comes out. So I need to work on that for sure. The fourth biggest mistake I made making my first game was not having a consistent kind of testing schedule. So anytime I implemented some type of functionality, such as leaderboards or being able to place a line or make a square or something like that, I would test it. If it was good, great. I would just work on the next thing. However, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month might pass by, and then I might notice a bug or an error, and I would say to myself, how come I didn't, find that before? Oh well, I'll kind of fix it. And I think I need to have a better schedule for fixing bugs or fixing errors. Spending 2 weeks developing and then maybe 2 weeks fixing bugs or something like that. But I would inconsistently. I mean, with any software development, application, or anytime you're doing that kind of stuff, you're gonna find bugs along the way, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I needed a more disciplined approach to fixing bugs. Setting time aside, either days or weeks for fixing, X amount of bugs, and then going to develop new functionality. And I was kind of all over the place. I had other people test my game, but I needed a set schedule, and I think that would have, I don't know if it would have been better, but I just felt like I was really inconsistent, and I need to work on that with, fixing bugs. The last thing, number 5 mistake I made about making my first video game was not thinking of it as a business. Now, there's nothing wrong with this. If you want to make games as a passion, all the power to you. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, I guess this was a passion project for me, so I wouldn't say this is a huge mistake, but I eventually kind of do want to turn it into a business. And the thing with games or any like creative entertainment type of product, passion does drive you, but you also need to think of it as a business. Do people want to buy your product? Do people want to play this game? Do they want to pay for this game, or do they want to, pay to buy items in the game? Is it worth it for the player? And going into making squares, it was just kind of like I wanted to get a game out there, get it to the world, push it out to you guys, have fun, have you play it. But going forward, I need to think of it as a business if you want some type of revenue or profit. And to keep making games as a passion or as a passion project, like I said, there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't expect to make money if you don't think of it as a business. And I eventually do want to turn it into a business. I do want to be making some type of revenue for my games to help pay bills and stuff like that. So I need to think of it as a business, develop it with a mindset, have the player enjoy the game, but have some type of revenue source that kind of fits into the game very well, that they don't really notice or doesn't affect their gameplay. I think that's super important. Anyways, that's the video. I've been wanting to push this out for a while, so I'm glad I made it. If you guys want to check out my Facebook page, it's facebook.com/dropkickent. It'll be in the description as well if you want to check it out. I'll be posting there on upcoming games. I'm working on a new game right now. Can't really talk to you guys much about it yet. I still got a lot going on. It's still really early in development, but I think this is going to be a really fun game, and I'm really putting a lot more time, energy, and dedication into this game than my previous one, because I've learned a lot, as you can tell from these 5 mistakes, and trust me, there was a lot more mistakes with my previous game. So I'm really excited for that. I'm going to try to post at least 1 video a week. That's my goal. Now, thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment below, hit a like, subscribe if you want to see future videos. And I have a lot coming forward, so I'm really excited. Anyways, everyone, have a good one. Bye.